Hello my friends and welcome to the third episode of our Red Riding Hood project. In the first two episodes we created a composition and a light and color or mood setting. In this episode we are going to start to work at the finalized version, so we're going to clean up everything we created so far, and in the next episode I'm adding some effects to bring in some more magic and make the picture more interesting. So the first thing we want to do, you can see down here I laid in the fog very roughly, so we want to clean that up. Let's go to our fog group here. I can even now rename it because we know now that we are going to use all the layers that we have in the picture. Here's a layer that I found is not even in the picture, so I can delete that one. But the others I can work with. You can see as long as I have my move tool selected, I get this nice blue outline. It tells me where the border is and which layer I'm working with. So I can stretch this a little bit and then rasterize it because it's the final size of the layer. I will use my eraser tool. With a low hardness, I have 19% here, big size, opacity and flow at 100, and then just smooth out the end of the fog so it's blending into the background. Gonna do the same with the next layer, which is this one. Again, you can see this is coming from the left, so I'm gonna stretch it out, rasterize it a bit, and then just go with my erase tool to delete the stuff that I don't need anymore. And this is the last layer that we need to do this on. Stretch it out to the other side. This one is coming from the right side, so stretch it, rasterize it, and use the erase tool to make it smooth. Let's have a look. Looks pretty good, looks pretty okay. The next thing we want to clean up, I think you can see it already back here in the background. Red Riding Hood has a cape that's going into grass. It looks very pixelated, doesn't look good, so I will remove this part of her cape. I'm not going to delete it, I'm going to hide it. So let's go to our Red Riding Hood group, which is down here. I will rename it RRH. There we go, and we have a mask inside, and I'm going to use my brush with the color black. There we go. Black color. Make sure you have a normal round brush, and we can adjust the hardness, set it to 90%, make the size smaller to a size that feels good to you, and then just paint over this to remove that part of the picture, and it's gone very fast. You can see here the outline of her body and her cape is not very clean, so we will brush over that also. A thing to notice here, and you can see this is low resolution. The reason for that is I know I just use it for YouTube. I'm not using it for print. So this is full HD, like my video recording. And you should think when you create a work, every time think about what kind of usage will you have for it now, but also in the future, because it is really a pain when you have to go back and recreate everything that you already created, because later on you figure out you want to use it now for a print on something. So especially when you work with customers, make sure you know what they want, what their expectations are, because they can always come and say, oh, now I also want to have it on a poster, so we need it in a bigger size. And you say, well, sorry, but we didn't create it in a bigger size. That might be a problem. Then you have to start from zero again, you know. So think about that. That's pretty important. Whoops, took a little bit too much here from the cape. Okay, I'm almost done here. Because this is low resolution, I don't have to be super precise with this. You can see the edges are pixelated anyways. So that's good. Makes it a bit quicker. There we go. And this down here, we can just hide by stretching the fog a little bit. That's also a nice trick. And this is by, generally you should look, can you find a workaround instead of putting in the work? This is not about laziness, it's more about having a good and quick workflow. So finding these kind of things is really good idea. Okay, so we cleaned up this element. The other thing, I painted the light situation pretty roughly around the wolf, but I kind of like it because it adds to the glow. But what I want to do is with the wolf, I made a mask so the wolf is behind the trees, and that is not very precise. So I'm going to delete that mask and create a new one that is more precise. So let's go in here now, and I will use my selection tool, freehand selection tool, and you can hold shift and then click and just move down the side here. Make sure that a tree is not just a box, so it's because it's organic, it's not even all the way down, and you should go along these lines and take care of that. I'm not going to include the branches because those are too small, and it's okay because when they are so small that the light wraps around them a little bit. You can see that in objects when light comes from behind that the edges are glowing somewhat, so their light goes a little bit around the object. So that is pretty okay with small branches like here, that they are not included in the mask. Okay, so we have this. There's another tree over here that I want to include real quick. And I will feather this so to make the selection a bit smoother when I'm finished with this. 1 second. There we can use all the trees because it's pretty much going to the edge of the picture. So that's okay. Good. Let's go up here real quick at this. And by the way, look up. Oh, I will show you in a second. 1 second. I will show you. So there we go with our selection. We see up here it's set to the mode add. When you have it to new, every selection will create a new selection and delete the rest of the selection you've already done. So when you put it to add, it will add everything again and again while you're creating the selection. So it's pretty nice and easy, just in case you're wondering. Okay, now I'm going to select and feather. Set this to, I think 1 pixel would be okay. Good. Let's zoom out. And again, I take my brush with the color black to create the mask. I will make it a bit bigger and have a soft hardness here. Even bigger. Okay, and now I can just paint this. So the wolf is actually behind the trees. Let's see. That looks pretty good. For some reason this seems to be... Oh no, this is just a glitch. You can see here the mask is going to the top of the picture. When I zoom out, it looks like there is a 1 pixel line up here, but it's actually not in the picture. It's just how it's shown when you see it. I'm not even sure you see it in the video. Okay, the next thing we want to do is to look at this blue element that I created here to create the mood. You can see I have here two. I will call this color for the layer, and the other one is the luminosity, so I will call this lumi. And so I have 2 layers. Can turn this off and it's getting brighter, and this is setting the color setting of the picture. As you can see, this is also including this very roughly created light down here, so I want to take this away again. Doesn't look very good. So I'm setting the layer to normal and turn off the luminosity layer so you can actually pick the color that I used here, and then just use the brush to paint over this. And I think we can even include her completely. We can go like this. That should be okay. Let's see, let's set it to overlay again. And now I can take off a little bit again where her face is, because the blue does not look too good over here. So I will use my erase tool and set it smaller. Of course, soft hardness is okay. The opacity can be lower just take it away a little bit here, maybe also on her arm. Although, let's go back, make this even smaller. There we go, and just remove it from her face. I think on the hair it's actually not too bad. Also a little bit from the arm. So we keep the color here. And I will touch this up later on when we create the light effect down here on this. And I have to create a light coming from here, but then also light on the tree and on her clothing and legs. So this will be a bit of more work, but I will do this actually in the next episode where I add all these kind of additional light effects in the picture. The next thing we are going to look at is the luminosity layer. I will also set this to normal for now and to 100% so I can see where I painted stuff in. And it looks a bit rough here, but that's okay because it with this kind of pattern, with this kind of unevenness, it creates a nice uneven effect on the background, which is nice to give the light in the picture a bit more life. So actually I think I will leave it like that. Set it back to luminosity, and you can see you can't really see it in here. There is no kind of edge or stuff like that, so that works out. And now I'm going to do something to create a bit more, how can I say, it's a classic trick in composition. I will place something, let's see, here. I downloaded this bush texture. You can see, looks like this. It's just a bush, just some foliage. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to color overlay black. So this is just like a paper cutout. And I will set this on the edge of the picture over here. Duplicate it real quick. You can hold Control and drag with your mouse. Put a little bit more over here. And I'm going to group this and put it behind my color and luminosity layer and also inside the fog layer. And we have to mix this up a little bit. Let's see. So I said this is the one that's in the background. You can see it's over all of the pictures. So this is, I will call this back fog. And I will move it up. So this is also over the foliage. You can see. Now it's over the foliage. But at the same time, down here we have this other fog that's still staying behind that. So, and I want now to make it look like the fog is creeping into the foliage a little bit. So I'm going in here, creating a mask, moving it into the group with the foliage. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of those painting brushes. For example, which one could work here nicely? We have to test this a little bit. And I'm going to set these to black and white so I can go back and forth in the mask. So there we go. Let's see, go to the brush. I don't think this is... Nope. That's not the right brush. We need something else. This one looks pretty fog-like. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, so let's draw in here a little bit maybe. There's the squirrel. I want to turn off the squirrel for now because this is irritating for us. Just want to create a little bit of fog. Take it away again a little bit. Let's set this maybe to a gray. Maybe brighter. Okay, I think this is good enough. And what this is doing, and this is a classical trick that you can use when you look at the picture. When I'm turning off the group, you can see that the picture is just going on, and that's a bit strange because the eye is not captured in the scene. It's not getting into the middle of the picture. This is just on the right side. It's just the attention is, the energy is flowing outside of the picture. So what you can do is, with this a bit of foliage to the side where it's getting darker here, you can just cancel off the situation on the side. It looks a little bit, of course, like a theater stage. You could actually do this maybe nicer and play around with this, maybe create some interesting elements. Not interesting in the way that they are eye-catching, but interesting in the way that they are ending the picture there, that you know there is nothing going on. The eye is not drifting in that direction. And of course, we can do the same thing on the other side. So I will call this Foley and duplicate the layer. And then I'm just going to go here to arrange, flip horizontally. So now it's turned around to the other side. I can just move this over here and put this over here. Maybe fade this out a little bit. It's a bit too strong. There we go. And so now the picture is not simply flowing into nothingness, into open space. It actually has a little bit of a border to both sides, which makes it a lot easier for the eye to read and gives it a little bit of a stage feeling. You can see when I turn it on and off, it actually does have an effect. We can actually make this a little bit more subtle, so contains the picture a bit. Okay, so this is pretty nice. One thing I just want to fix real quick is over here. Let's turn on this again to normal. Color pick this real quick. Oh, I think I still have the color. Well, anyways, go back to the basic brush, round brush, and I want to draw over the feet of the fox, because this was, I found it a bit annoying actually. Let's see, make this a bit bigger. Okay, like this. Let's see. Bring it back. Overlay. Luminosity on. There we go. And okay, so we cleaned up this part. I don't think we need to clean too much over here where the wolf is. We cleaned up the tree mask and the fog and set some border to the side so the eye and the energy of the picture is not flowing outside of the picture. Next time, I'm going to create the light here that the girl is holding, the Red Riding Hood is holding, with the light on the trees and on her clothing. And I will add some magic to the air, some kind of fairy dust, so this looks a bit more interesting, the atmosphere, and gives it more of a 3D feeling in the picture. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this episode, for cleaning up, for showing you the process of cleaning up, and see you in the next episode. Bye!